Thank you very much for showing up. Actually, you can basically come forward if you want. So basically, we can have a good discussion. My name is Wael Elkabbany. I am the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships with Microsoft. I'm responsible for the relationship with SAP. Hiren?
I'm Hiren Shah. I lead the Product and Program Management group in Azure for SAP Workloads.
Right. This is a much smaller setup than we had in the morning, so I hope you all enjoyed the show in the morning with Judson and the team. Super exciting stuff here and there. And we wanted to actually just take this session today to just walk you through a number of things. One, basically what our customers are saying to us around our partnership with SAP and how we're basically advancing our agenda together and actually bringing this agentic framework and digital assistance to life. So we wanted to actually bring you some of that dialogue here today. And then my friend Hiren is going to just walk you through much more level of detail around some of the recent announcements that we're making, as well as running a couple of demos so that you can basically see the product state of Microsoft working with SAP in action. So this is basically the few things that we want to cover off today. On the partnership, this is a 3 decades level of partnership between Microsoft and SAP. Over the last 30 years, we have had a lot of announcements that actually really shaped the way that Microsoft and SAP brought the best of SAP value proposition to the market. Almost every other year, we bring a number of announcements that basically makes a big difference in terms of how SAP is deploying their services and taking their cloud journey with Microsoft. We are super proud that majority of the RISE estate or the private cloud estate of SAP worldwide is actually today running on Azure. This is something that we're really proud of, and we don't take lightly the amount of trust that we had from the enterprise customers across the world, across all industries. There is a very good presence of the Microsoft infrastructure across the SAP estate. And this is happening due to a number of important reasons, one of which is actually was manifesting itself in the dialogues that you have seen today on stage with the amount of innovations that Microsoft brought to life today. You can basically see that almost every time we bring our product portfolio and we make the innovations that we're making, we're actually making that in integration with the SAP. Last year, we actually spoke about bringing Joule and Copilot to life, and we're actually bringing digital assistance to really light up the AI value proposition of SAP. And today, in the morning, you've heard Charles Lamanna speaking about the A365 platform of Microsoft and how we actually sort of announced as well that SAP is going to be one of the early adopters of bringing Joule to the A365, bringing really a massive value proposition to a lot of SAP customers across the world. Earlier this year, we made a number of announcements around how we are actually bringing our Fabric value propositions, Databricks and others to really light up the data estate of SAP. And today morning as well, we had a huge announcement around sort of really bringing the business data cloud integration with Fabric. Seriously, something we're super proud of, that we are actually now bringing that value proposition to the market. This slide almost encapsulates why, when I was mentioning to you minutes ago, why customers choose RISE on Azure as a platform of choice. In my mind, because of the massive surround estate that Microsoft is having around the SAP portfolio, that's bringing a lot of value directly to customers. Having said that, when we were designing our go-to-market motion for this year and basically activating the work we're having with SAP, we came up with a concept called Innovate to RISE. A lot of customers, during their selection or actually getting their decision to go to the cloud, they actually start to make that decision on RISE. And at that point in time, they want to really activate a lot of the agentic scenarios, the data analytic scenarios, the security and everything, while they're actually making that decision of actually adopting RISE. And we actually found that This decision is typically made based on the entire portfolio of Microsoft. Having said that, the adoption of those services, due to the fact that they are actually going through this migration process from legacy estate to the RISE estate, actually delays a lot the innovation that is happening. That's why we are actually going to market this year, and we are actually activating with a lot of our channel sellers and partner sellers across the world this Innovate to RISE sales motion, whereby we are actually going to a lot of our customers across the world now, basically saying or giving them the entire surround story that basically can light up from today the AI scenarios, the data integration scenarios that they can have over their SAP estate, and also security, and then they can take it forward with them as and when they start to make the RISE decision or grow decision end to end. To do that, we believe that this is a huge opportunity for a lot of our SI partners across the world. We have actually lined up with all our GSI partners around the value proposition that they can actually deliver with Microsoft on the surround story, all the way from the security services, Teams, Copilot, Joule integration, and a number of other services that we're doing with the SIs. Majority of the SIs today launched already what they call Innovate to RISE sales motion with Microsoft, and that is already active across the world, and they're activating that based on a number of industry-specific use case scenarios that they're basically running on with SAP estate. It's not only with the GSIs. GSIs are delivering that across the world, but we have a huge portfolio of SI partners who are already also delivering and developing their services together with Microsoft on delivering this value to the customers. As I said, today morning, we were really proud of the 2 new addition of announcements that we have done with SAP. One around the A365 integration and the Fabric BDC integration. Stay tuned. There is much more that we're actually doing with SAP over the next few weeks, and hopefully we'll come back to you with even more information on it. With that, I will hand over to my friend Hiren. He will take you through the product presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wael.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super excited to be here. And as Wael said, Microsoft is the best cloud for your RISE and SAP workloads. And whether you are kind of the transformation to RISE is already underway at your organization, or you're kind of focused on setting the foundation of data and AI as kind of your plan for your migration and RISE, we provide the best platform for you and for your needs. And I'll walk you through how I'll catch you up on the biggest sort of announcements if you miss, especially as it relates to kind of the running the SAP workloads, and I have a couple of exciting demos as well. So let's dig into it. This is kind of the big picture view of kind of why, again, the Microsoft is the best platform with kind of a little bit more details. We have the most, Azure has the most regions across all the hyperscalers. And we are not done. We are adding more and more regions all across the globe. And in the next slide, I'll show you a big chunk of our regions are already RISE enabled. We know that you want to kind of innovate with your RISE and ERP core, and you want to innovate with SAP BTP Foundation and SAP Business Data Cloud BDC Foundation. So we are always expanding those services as well jointly with SAP. We have the best data platform. We have SAP Business Data Cloud already available in 4 Azure regions, and again, we'll expand the scope. We have the best first-party Databricks service with Azure Databricks. We have, of course, Fabric and Power BI. I know a lot of your users are already using Power BI, and we get that a lot. They want to leverage the power of Fabric and Power BI together for your SAP data and non-SAP data. We have the best AI platform. We have the broadest catalog of models, and you heard a lot of the AI momentum through WorkIQ and Fabric IQ today morning, some of you who caught up the keynote. And we also have the industry-leading Joule and Copilot bi-directional integration. And that gives you such a great starting point for kind of out-of-the-box embedded AI, where if you need to write your own agents and apps, that's great, but it's really great to light up kind of use cases right out of the box as well. And I'll show you a demo of that. We are the leaders in security solutions as well. We have the best kind of industry-leading information and event process management system with Sentinel, and we have that certified for RISE and BTP, and I'll show you some new things we are doing in that space. And we have the most amount of security signals that we process, and we understand the signatures and the threats, and we bring all that intelligence for you through AI. So this is kind of, as I mentioned, we have the broadest set of RISE regions across the globe. North America, South America, 44 plus regions and growing. Europe, Africa, Asia, Pacific, and Australia, and Japan. And we always have kind of multiple sort of regions for you to kind of do your disaster recovery around, and multiple zones in a lot of these regions. And so this is kind of the broadest coverage, and we're always adding. Over the last couple of years, we've expanded the number of regions we have in Europe quite a bit dramatically. We are adding Malaysia. I'm not sure it's in the picture, but it's coming up soon as well. And the foundation of it all is kind of our infrastructure solutions in Azure that are all SAP HANA and NetWeaver certified. Our compute, our high memory M-series VMs, and our storage platform. And we have the most number of certified solutions, and that gives you that kind of the most optimal size and the balance of compute and storage for your workload, so you can balance kind of performance and cost. Our MV3 M-series VMs are our most reliable, where we've taken all the customers that Wael showed, they've been running on our platform for the longest time, and we've taken all the insights from running those customers reliably and put that and made MV3 the foundation of our most reliable systems. And we were working on MV4, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what's unique about our MV4 VM. We are very excited about that as well. With MV3 VMs, we also scaled up to 32 terabytes. We know your HANA database sizes are growing for some of the largest customers. And we do have the world's largest kind of SAP estates running in production reliably over the last kind of 1 year or so on this 32 terabyte platform. We are very proud of that as well. And chances are, if you are buying something on the internet, that order processing is going through an SAP system, and odds are it's running in Azure, right? Because we do have the biggest Fortune 500, we have the biggest retailers. That's just retail. I'm just talking about retail. Moving on, just kind of building on the region coverage, as I mentioned, over the last, again, 1.5 years, we got a lot of feedback from you. You wanted more coverage of BTP all across the globe, and that's exactly what we've done. I know we have a lot of friends from SAP in the audience, so a lot of joint work, and this is one of those pieces where jointly with SAP, we've rolled out all these regions. So all the green regions are already live, and we have Germany West Central coming up very soon, and India coming up next, sometime mid-year next year. And the other thing we've heard is you also want all the key BTP services to be there. Like, for example, DataSphere is a foundational for using Business Data Cloud. So we made sure we are actually expanding coverage of all the services, DataSphere, SAP Analytics Cloud, GenAI Hub. We're making sure all the services are there as well, not just the region coverage. Business Data Cloud, I think earlier, about a month and a half back, we have 4 regions now. There are a couple of regions in Americas, South America, and our West Europe region is already live. And I believe we are adding a couple more regions very soon. And our kind of joint vision with SAP is to kind of make sure all the BTP regions, get the BDC coverage over time. So you can kind of start to kind of think ahead and plan ahead to that. And we'll kind of add more roadmap details as we kind of build that plan with SAP. So we covered kind of the basics of infra, but we do so much more. We know that SAP ERP systems are your mission critical systems. Your order processing is running, your supply chain is running there. And we know you care about availability and kind of, we want to minimize downtime. So we are always thinking ahead jointly with SAP on how can we optimize all of that. So earlier this year at Sapphire, we jointly announced our High SLA RISE offering. So you can kind of, and that's exclusively on Azure. You can get 99.95% SLA if you choose, if that's the right option for you. So we have a joint kind of unique max availability architecture, operational processes, kind of augmented by engineering support, and that's how we jointly drive that high availability with SAP. And I talked a little bit about M-Series as our foundation for SAP HANA, and I talked about the balance of sort of performance versus cost. And we know HANA is an in-memory database, and your database sizes are growing. And memory is expensive. The RAM memory DDR is expensive. So we're always thinking about innovative ways to kind of optimize the cost. And CXL is that technology. We are jointly kind of very proud to partner with Intel and SAP to kind of bring CXL in the context of SAP HANA workloads. So that allows us to create memory hierarchies. It allows us to sometimes add more memory, so we utilize all the CPU. Sometimes we are able to kind of balance low-cost memory and high-cost memory, so it gives many different advantages and creates a lot of flexibility and on that balance of performance and scale. And so we are launching that in private preview. Again, super excited about that. We also know, again, going back to the mission-critical nature of the SAP systems, we understand that you have kind of business counterparts who are kind of expecting smooth migration, smooth cutover, smooth go live, and high availability post go live, right? And that's why we jointly created this RISE Acceleration Program, again, jointly with SAP. This is where skilled customer success folks from Microsoft Azure and our engineering teams work very closely with our counterparts on SAP to kind of be with you from day one, proactively, kind of planning integration architectures. We support a lot of customers in connecting kind of your RISE landscape with all your non-RISE applications that are running on Azure, so you have to kind of integrate across these two environments, and we provide a lot of sort of knowledge and how-tos around that through this RAP program. That's more the proactive side of it. And during kind of your critical go live and post go live, we provide a lot of help, and we work very hand in hand with our SAP friends to kind of make sure your migration and post-migration is all smooth and reactively help you on with that. And a big part of that now going forward is our AIOps partnership with RISE engineering team. So this is where we are building AI agents in Azure that we are kind of integrating with AI agents that RISE engineering is building. And together, these agents collaborate to kind of push, again, availability and quality high for your system. So I'll just double click on that AIOps part a little bit. So as you can see, for those of you who are familiar with how SAP systems are kind of operated, there are a lot of configuration. There's a configuration for the compute, storage, all the infrastructure layer. There's configuration for operating system, pacemaker, high availability. There's a lot of configuration. And there's configuration on SAP side as well. And there are best practices around a lot of these. There are Azure best practices, there are RISE best practices. But what happens over time is sometimes drifts kick in, through human errors, sometimes intentional workarounds that end up not getting kind of adjusted for after the fact and all of that. And a lot of those can sometimes kind of create availability challenges for your system. And this is where we have built agents that proactively look against the best practice and kind of show and flag the drift for the administrators. And then over time, our vision is to kind of also give you the ability to sort of remediate those issues as well. And we also know, again, those of you who have operated these systems for a while, interruptions do happen. We obviously want to minimize them. But when that happens, you want kind of rapid troubleshooting and RCA so you can take the right mitigation steps, right? And that's why we have the Azure sort of RCA agent. And what we are doing is on our friends in SAP engineering, the RISE engineering, they have their internal agentic hub where they are integrating their agents, which are optimizing, again, for outage and incident avoidment and the scaling that needs to happen on SAP side to the next HANA size, next file system size. And these agents kind of work together through the agent-to-agent interop. I'll talk a little bit more about agents and interop in the business AI sense as well. Right now, we are in the kind of the IT admin, infra admin kind of space, but they integrate through agent-to-agent protocol, and they work together. And the impact you get as a RISE customer is just higher quality, higher availability. So we are very excited. There's a blog out there. You're welcome to kind of take a look, and over time, we'll bring you demos and all that as well. So let's switch gears. I think let's kind of zoom out of the infra space. You're successfully migrated. You're running, operating in the cloud. But we know that you want to kind of innovate with data and AI, right? And data is that critical foundation to ground AI, in your product catalog, in your customer intelligence, and all of that, right? We understand all that across all these functions, finance, sales, supply chain, marketing. And so we have great kind of data platform, and we are making it even better, right? So this is a little bit of an overview. SAP Business Data Cloud was launched earlier this year. You get curated and managed data sets from SAP that are kind of analytics ready. And so, as I mentioned, BDC runs on Azure already. We have Azure Databricks. If you've been a long-time Databricks customer and you want to kind of look to advance that, we have the Azure Databricks offering. And we have Microsoft Fabric as well. Again, the best-in-class AI-enriched kind of platform for data and analytics. And again, it brings the power of Power BI as well, which again, we know is in most of the organizations, most of the enterprise users are using Power BI. And we are integrating those as well. All of these are integrated, and I'll walk you through how that comes together. So we talked about BDC being already available, and as Wael mentioned, we announced today morning BDC and Microsoft Fabric are getting integrated. What that means is Fabric and Business Data Cloud can exchange data. They do a data sharing with zero copy transfer, right? So you have the managed data sets available in BDC, and with a very easy configuration, you can say, I want to share that data in Fabric. And once you share that data in Fabric, you can kind of start to harmonize your SAP data with other application data and non-SAP data. You can start to leverage the power of Power BI through what we call as Power BI Direct Lake mode, because now that data becomes virtually available through the sort of the shortcuts, if you will, and through Delta sharing in one lake. So then you can start to kind of do analysis against the data with Power BI. And last but not the least, if you are kind of farther along in your AI journey and you're already building your own custom apps and agents, you can use this data to kind of ground those agents and kind of work off of that. And this will be bidirectional, so you can kind of do the other way. With Fabric also, you can kind of do data sharing back into BDC. And that will be available starting, I think we'll start to have previews in kind of first half of next year. We also have already kind of replication that has been in the industry way of doing that, and so a lot of that kind of carries forward. We have partner solutions for that. We know some use cases do need for performance regions and all that replication as well, but again, we are offering you the best of both worlds. And we are very excited about the Fabric and BDC data sharing because, again, it makes everything kind of managed and it reduces your operational overhead where you don't have to set up all the pipelines and you don't have to manage all the moving pieces. So we are very excited about that. This is, again, a little bit of a summary view, and the thing to kind of point out is the data sharing with Fabric and BDC is new and launching kind of today, announced today, available soon. But I want to remind you that we've had Azure Databricks and Business Data Cloud already kind of integrated with the bidirectional data sharing set up from the get-go, and that's something you can use now. It's already available to you. So that kind of, we kind of did an overview of the data platform. Let's talk about AI a little bit. And with AI, we want to give you kind of best, I mentioned the value of out-of-the-box AI, and we want to give you that best starting point. But we also know you want to build your own kind of copilots and your own agents, And we have the best platform to do that at a kind of Microsoft level, but we are also always making it kind of SAP aware and kind of SAP ready. So let's talk about that out of the box component first. I think we were looking at the stats. There are about kind of 2 million kind of Office M365 customers and around another 500,000 SAP customers. So you walk into any organization, they're using SAP, they're using Microsoft M365. And wouldn't it be cool if Copilot and Joule could just integrate together? And that's what we've spent last kind of 1.5 years doing, right? And it's all kind of now bi-directionally integrated. So you can start with, if you're in the flow of work on Teams and in M365 Copilot, you can start there and you can ask Joule questions very seamlessly. You can transition into SAP apps and vice versa. If you're in the SAP application, you're researching something in depth, but you want to reference your emails and ask questions off of Copilot, you can do that as well. So we are very proud of this integration, and I think next up I have a demo coming up. So I'll go behind here and work the demo here. So here, I think I'm going to kind of take on a salesperson persona, and I have a colleague, his name is Holger, he's on my team, and we're going to take that sales persona, and I think we are kind of working on a sales order. There's one of the customers experiencing some challenges, so I'm coming back after a bit of a trip, so I'll see if I can hit play on this demo. I don't know if it's going or not, but it's kind of minimized for me here. Okay, it's starting to go. So the first thing, I'm coming back after a couple of days off, I'm asking, are there any emails from Holger? I'm in the M365 Copilot, and Copilot quickly tells me, yes, Holger is asking you about this particular sales order. And the moment I think about that, I say, you know what, I'm going to ask Joule. So Joule, I just selected Joule, and if you, again, next year or next round we show, we'll predict that it's a Joule question, right? It's just with the Work IQ stuff, but we don't have all of that integrated stuff. But we're asking Joule about the sales order, and Joule's going to kind of look into all the information it has, and it's going to tell us what customer this order is for and what's going on with the order. So here it's saying it's for Hypercom, and we're working on the order, but there could be some problems with the order. So from here, I can jump into the SAP application and kind of dig into a little bit more, understand what parts and what's the kind of delivery timeline and those kind of things. And I can start to understand a little bit about Hypercom as well. And I think we are experiencing some problems. So I want to understand a little bit more about Hypercom, how important they are, so that I can kind of right-size all the corrective actions that we take. So I can go back to Copilot and say, tell me a little bit more about Hypercom, what's going on. And Copilot can, again, look at what I would have said yesterday about graph, Office graph, but today I'll say Work IQ if you called kind of the keynote. But kind of Copilot can start reasoning over that and say, here's kind of things to kind of note about Hypercom. Here's the size of their operation. So, a lot of times you think about, is this a super strategic high priority customer? Is it a low priority customer and all of that? And it'll also go to internet and fetch kind of the latest news, right? So it's just a very quick demo. We have lots of scenarios, and you can think bi-directionally, the kind of sky is the limit, to be honest. But again, in the interest of time, just a very quick demo around how these Copilot and Joules kind of seamlessly go back and forth together. So that's about Copilot and Joule. Before we kind of go into the next segment, I do want to kind of maybe paint a little bit of a picture of what's ahead. I think you heard a little bit around A365 today. And as you heard Charles Lamanna kind of talk about it, it's around agent governance, right? Starting with Enter ID, every agent and their life cycle should be managed. All agents should have clear observability platform. What is the agent behaving well? Permissions for the agent and everything, right? And interop. Those are some of the pillars Charles talked about. And the great thing is that we have fantastic alignment with our SAP friends on all these dimensions. So our next thing we are working together is to kind of align those pillars so that agents that you create in the Copilot ecosystem and the agents that you create in the Joule ecosystem, they have a consistent framework across all of this. And SAP is going to be a partner with A365, and something, again, we are very happy to kind of share that today. And that allows us to create that consistent platform. So our next vision is to, again, help you kind of interop the agents on both sides, govern them, and securely kind of light up multi-agent workflows across the two ecosystems. So kind of moving on a little bit, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to now kind of zoom out a little bit, right? So because your enterprise application landscape is complex. You have, obviously, ERP is at the heart of your kind of operations, but you also have CRM applications, you have ITSM applications, you have done acquisitions, and there are multiple ERP systems, multiple vendors. There's a complex landscapes, right? And what we hear from customers is they want to be able to harmonize data across SAP and non-SAP systems, and they also want to be able to do agentic workflows across these applications, right? And for that, we are giving you kind of a set of data and agentic AI accelerators, and we call this kind of solution business process solutions, and something that is kind of starts to cut across multiple applications. And I think the idea is, again, to cut down that time to value. And I'll show you a demo of this in a little bit, and I'll explain how that happens. But the idea is to really cut down time spent in kind of just doing more basic ETL and just fighting all the tools and all of that, but kind of get you the right starting point so you can analyze with Power BI from day one, right? Get you Power BI ready data. And a set of agents as well. So again, maybe I'll next kind of, we'll show you a demo of this so that makes it a little bit clearer for you. And just the demo scenario here, you have Charlotte, who's a business analyst, and she wants to kind of analyze supply chain information. She wants to optimize their spend, supply spend. And Joe is kind of an IT admin and data architect. He's tasked with kind of helping Charlotte kind of set up all of the right data foundation. Now, typically, it would have taken Charlotte and Joe months, right? You start with a lot of kind of analysis of what data do I need. You figure out all the connectivity, and you load the data, you transform it, and then Charlotte has to kind of figure out what dashboards do I want and all of that, right? It takes time, right? It actually takes months. I've done these projects in my lifetime, and it takes months, right? And so I'll show you how business process solutions kind of makes this easier, gives you easier starting points to kind of give that Power BI ready intelligence. Okay, all right, I think the demo is going, or did I pause it again? I may have accidentally paused it. Okay, it's going again. So this is Fabric Workload Hub, and here you can click on Business Process Solutions and create a new workload. And you can start to think about what systems you want to connect to. And now kind of a new workload is connected, and you're configuring, you're saying, in this case, you're pointing to an SAP system, but you can point to a Salesforce system, and you can bring opportunities data. And down the line, you can point to an Oracle system. You can point to ServiceNow system. You can point to some IoT information. So that's kind of our vision to kind of bring this cross-application kind of insights together. But here you're saying, hey, I'm interested in supplier invoices, and you're already kind of selecting from the template. And once you select from the template, it already figures out all the right tables to pull and start to sort of harmonize the data. And once that is done, you can also say, give me some starting kind of dashboards to start analyzing my spend. So you can, again, go look at the Power BI reports that we have, and you can say, I want some of the spend insights spun up for me. And so this is, again, something you can get started in days, not kind of weeks and months. And right off the gate, you can get the spend insight. You can figure out what the trend of the spend is. You can figure out who your top suppliers are, top materials where you're spending money. So really kind of faster time to value. I'll pause the demo here. There are more parts to the demo. We have a set of agents we are kind of enabling, again, as agent templates that will be available to you in Copilot Studio. If you're interested in learning more, we have a session on Thursday at 3:30. It's about unlocking insights with your SAP workloads with data and AI. We'll talk a lot more about a lot of these deeper demos, and Robert Hernandez, who is sitting over there, he's going to do that session. So if you want to learn more, please go attend that session. Let's cover one more quick pillar quickly, security. Last but not the least, super important. Again, this is where Microsoft and Azure have the best platform. Identity Entra is the world-leading solution. Again, we closely integrate with SAP solutions. Data, Azure has the best options for encryption and backup. Again, purpose-built for SAP workloads and HANA. Network security, we have a private link solution set up to integrate across your BTP services and Azure services. Again, that's a joint solution with SAP. Threat protection, we talked about Sentinel, certified for RISE and BTP. And we're always expanding kind of the alert scenarios and how you can kind of real-time do things like block alert, block attacks, and things like that. And you have the security Copilot. A couple of other big things we've done lately on the Sentinel platform, the connector for SAP workloads. Now we have agentless setup. Again, that uses the BTP foundation with your RISE system, so you don't have to have this sort of moving part of a connector agent that you have to maintain yourself. And our customers love it, the customers who are using the Sentinel solution with SAP. And we are also expanding to S/4HANA public cloud. I believe so. My friend Jan is in the audience. I think hopefully you know about that. And we have partners that we're working with. SAP solution, enterprise threat detection. We have integrations we're creating with Security Bridge and Onapsis. Especially the feedback we heard is customers want vulnerability management. That's very critical as well. And that's where we are creating integrations. So again, you can have a kind of a single pane of glass view of all aspects of security, not just event monitoring and threat monitoring. That's kind of the overview of the platform, and hopefully you kind of see why we truly believe Microsoft is the best platform for RISE. And this is before Work IQ, Fabric IQ, and a lot of that kicking in. A365. We are very proud of where we are, but we are even more excited about where we are going, right? And so there's a reception tomorrow, 7 to 9. Yeah, please, you're invited. Join the Microsoft and SAP leaders for the reception. I'll pause here. We do have time for Q&A, so if you have questions, feel free to come up. There's Mike, there's me, there's Wael, there's Robert also. We'll do Q&A here for a little bit, and Robert will be available in the parking lot as well. Wael and I have other commitments. We have to jet in 5 minutes, but you're welcome to ask questions now. Any feedback? Feedback is also good. Anything we need to do better. Anything that's bothering you, you're stuck on something. Go ahead. Yeah, please. Please go ahead.
Hey, sorry. Yeah, great presentation. Actually, really good to see all the new functionality coming on. Really nice to see the new capabilities of RISE and particularly explore the BDC connection a bit more. I actually had a question about that, about the BDC.
Yeah, please.
So, so the new connector that's doing this bidirectional zero-copy integration, is this a completely new mechanism, or is it leveraging mirroring or something else that's already out there?
So this is the way this works is SAP BDC has a BDC Connect capability where the BDC curated data sets are available with delta sharing. And Fabric already understands delta sharing has this notions of shortcuts. So Fabric is going to integrate with the BDC Connect APIs, and that's how this is going to kind of work. So there'll be very minimal config. Think about it like, oh yeah, I do want to share this, that, and this is the security permission. It'll be something like that. And you can think, it's a little bit different than mirroring. Mirroring kind of implies copying. This is zero copy. So the data will remain in BDC data lake, but it is visible, almost like you can think about it like shortcuts, right? It's a shortcut with delta sharing. So you can immediately run Spark jobs against it in Fabric. You can use Power BI Direct Lake against those tables. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah, I just had a question on, BDC. I understand it's relatively new, but it feels like it serves the same function as Fabric. So I guess I'm trying to understand like the inherent tension, like are customers going to be adopting both, or if they're, or just one at the end of the day, and how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good.
Yeah, I would say I don't think there is inherent tension between the two. I mean, I think when you think about BDC and you think about kind of your SAP estate. So yes, you have the SAP ERP, but then you have things like Ariba for procurement, you have solutions for supply chain, you have solutions for sales. And so what happens is you have all these SAP applications where, for example, in procurement, you've got procurement in Ariba, procurement in the SAP ERP. You need one singular view of the vendor across that view. So what SAP is going to do is go out there and not just provide a data solution, but also the business semantics associated with those business processes across all those SAP applications. But if you think about your landscape, right, you've got IoT solutions out there, you may have business applications from someone other than SAP, and so what's going to happen is now you have a bunch of enterprise data that you need to bring together. And so instead of saying, oh, I think there's tension between these two applications, I think it's more a situation of, with this delta sharing capability, you have the ability to bring together the SAP world that SAP is going to curate with the rest of your enterprise data with zero copies, so that you don't have multiple copies of the data flying around. So I don't see it as a lot of tension between the two. I think it's actually the two are very complementary with bringing together your SAP estate and the rest of your Microsoft data estate as well.
Okay. And a similar question on, you demoed where I think Copilot was calling SAP Joule, and similarly Joule was calling Copilot. I guess how do you see customers? Is it just going to be based on customer preference? Because it feels like, give them a slap of hand, someone's got to be on top of like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very similar situation as well. So if you think about SAP Joule, they're going out and they're optimizing for the SAP business process. And from a Microsoft standpoint, right, we're going out there and optimizing for Microsoft in connection to other agents as well. So I don't think it's a question of you have to choose which one of the two. That's the exact opposite of what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is saying, hey, if I am working within a Microsoft tool and I need to know something, and that something could span across my emails and Teams chats and so forth, plus my SAP data, right? If I'm in the Microsoft tool, I want to ask the question, and I get the answer accumulated from both. On the flip side, if I'm in SAP and I'm creating a sales order and I'm like, I can't remember how much that customer emailed they wanted, I can ask that question with Joule, and it will go and get that data both from the SAP side and from the Microsoft side. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to force the user to a situation where they have to choose one or the other. I want the user to have the answer from both applications, no matter what interface they happen to be on at that exact moment. So I wouldn't see that as an either or, and that's absolutely not how we're trying to build it.
Yeah, it's very complementary, right? Both of those, and they are very thought out, right? Again, going back to the Fabric and BDC, a good example I like to give is oil and gas. We actually have customers, they have wells, and they have IoT devices on those wells. And those IoT devices are sending gobs and gobs of data to Fabric and blobs and all of that. And BDC, as it stands today, is not very focused on that real-time, near real-time data processing. That's not what it is positioned for. But Fabric can do that. Before Fabric, we've had Synapse. Microsoft has been doing real-time data processing. I have actually worked on the data stack for 10 years plus more years, right? So our customers have these rich scenarios that span SAP, non-SAP, business data and operational data, volumes of data and IoT, and this is where we see the synergy and the complementary aspects, right? And going back to kind of Copilot and Joule, Copilot does have a much broader purview, right? In the sense it has obviously the graph and the work IQ kind of intelligence that'll come in. But Copilot is again where you may see ServiceNow integrated. You may see, you may have Dynamics or you may have Salesforce. That might integrate there. You may have Jira integrated, right? So this is where Microsoft will always be, before data and AI, Microsoft was always the cross-application platform. And that continues, the metaphor continues, really. So that's kind of how we see the world. And that's what we hear from our customers as well.